The 40th anniversary of the classic British sitcom Blackadder is being celebrated with a special set of stamps. It was announced.
The show remains a firm favourite with viewers and has produced some of the most recognisable faces on British stage and screen, some of whom have made it into 8 collectible stamps to celebrate the show.
Well, joining us now to discuss the 40th anniversary of Blackadder is GB News presenter and comedian Simon Evans. I have to say, for me, this was such an amazing series. I mean, it really was turn on TV when it started. So, for you, classic lines, the people in it.
Hey, was that?
Can you hear us, Simon?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, did you ask a question?
Yeah, I did. I said, for you, what were the classic lines, the people in it?
What were the classic lines? Well, no, I mean, I think it was a fantastic series. It's always alarming, to be honest, when you get these 40th anniversaries, because you realise how much time has rushed past in the intervening years, have melted away. It was on air from 83 to 89, whereas I swear that the World War One series, which ended with that unbelievably poignant scene as they sort of ground to a halt almost in a freeze frame and turned into poppies. Absolutely iconic last scene. I feel like that was only a few weeks ago. It was an extraordinary series. It overturned a number of very well-established rules in sitcom, one of which was that you couldn't do historical sitcom, that it didn't work, that you couldn't play with the Elizabethan era or the Regency period and so on in the way that they did. There were certain well-established, I suppose you might just call them received wisdom within the sitcom era. It was just accepted that it had to be contemporary, topical, recognisable characters, and instead Blackadder just shattered all kinds of glass ceilings and preconceptions about what sitcom could and should be. And I think as a result of the absolutely extraordinary quality, the sustained quality of the writing and the wonderful acting and the ensemble troupe that they put together and that accompanied that character through the ages, it changed everything. And I think it remains the second or third favourite sitcom of all time after only Del Boy and possibly Baz Fawlty.
But it was that genius of all of the people together. It was your Rowan Atkinson, your Tony Robinson, it was your Rick Mayor, it was your sort of Fry and Laurie, and of course Richard Curtis, who wrote the first series, and Ben Elton and Curtis, who wrote the rest of them. My favourite one... Go on.
Yeah. I was just going to say, Curtis and Elton, it was very interesting that the first series was only written by Richard Curtis with Rowan Atkinson, and it was a great series in itself. It was very enjoyable, but it was completely different from the other three. In the first series, Blackadder was the idiot, and Baldrick, in fact, was his sort of scheming, intelligent, cunning sidekick who actually saved him from all kinds of embarrassments, much more sort of Don Quixote and Sancho Panza kind of relationship. And that turned on its head later on. And again, that was kind of shattering the sitcom consensus, which had been established, I suppose, by Dad's Army to some extent, that the leader should be a buffoon and the number two should be constantly saving him from catastrophe. But the second, third and fourth series, once you brought Ben Elton in, there was, without pushing the point too much, a little bit of a Lennon and McCartney dynamic going on there, with Lennon being Ben Elton, quite harsh, quite cynical, and Curtis, if he has a fault, and he is an extraordinarily successful screenwriter, of course, but if he has a fault, he is a little bit sentimental, he's a little bit gooey at times. So he is the McCartney, Ben Elton was the Lennon, and between them they just created this fantastic synthesis.
Simon Evans, thank you very much indeed for joining us.